Let me do this.
You know what? No. Bob should know what I'm talking about. In Australia, they have a compare the meerkat.com.au, and it's like these meerkats trying to be insurance salesmen. It's freaking weird.
All right. Who won the Shiv on my channel? I forgot who did it. Somebody else did though.
Speckles.
No, it was
started with S.
It was Static Shell.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me know about the audio too, guys. Appreciate you.
No
I had in all of my hand flourishing bumped the
button.
So
one of the things I was going to say for the solution to, I want to see. Also, want to double check to see if this studio actually worked because I was 2 minutes over the 12 hours. So. It looks like it's fine. I'm going to set to public and see if it works. This processing will begin shortly, so hopefully that works. The other one worked fine at like 11 hours. So, yeah, I realized that it was like I just caught it just 2 minutes late. But I think that the key is that if you custom craft it, so if it's like custom crafted for you, you should be able to insure it, but you don't get it back. You get the value of the item back in credits, so that you have to. Let's say if you purchase it from somebody. You can use that.
Didn't they talk us about it, CitizenCon, and they said there was different levels of insurance, and they literally stated 4 different levels from what I remember.
There are,
and the last one was to insure everything to come back exactly as it was, but it was the most expensive insurance.
Yes, but the problem I have with that is that if you have a character like a player, like economy, then you can just bypass players.
But then no one will ever take their shit out in their ship pool. Well, no, they'll just take it and store it in a box in the hangar and never take it out.
Well, I mean, because you
look at.
You're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I got 7,000 hours in Tarkov.
Yeah.
It has this same thing. Where you can insure at different levels, different tiers, for different items, and you actually do get exactly what Execute's talking about. But that's for certain people get that gear fear, but that's because there is a reason to play the game and because losing something means something. And if I can get my gun back again and again and again, then my inventory just builds up infinitely. A perfect example is right now you can play Tarkov in a offline mode where there's no players that can ever steal your gear, right? You can just play it against bots. In that mode, everyone has infinite money and infinite gear because they insure everything, and then it's never lost, and then it comes back, and it just consistently builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up.
And they do that reset, don't they?
Well, they don't do that in that offline mode.
Oh, really?
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, they don't do it in the offline mode. In the online mode, however, there's this constant ebb and flow of your own player economy that works with the player market. Certain people are requiring different things. So I think they're going to have to make hard decisions about whether or not they want to have actual consequence within this game, which would be the loss of components, the loss of ships, the loss of gear, and how severe they're going to make it. I won't speak to what I want because I don't think what I want is what a lot of people will want. But I think they're going to have to make some tough decisions at some point.
Again, I think it comes back to a cost, and I think the cost will be Alpha UE or UEC, right? I think you've got to pay the insurance to get things back, and it's maintaining that. And I think the different levels of insurance, obviously, if you really want to keep those things insured, you're going to have to pay a premium. I think they really will be quite expensive to keep them all if you want to keep using them. And again, if it is not balanced in the right way, you're going to get people that will just keep things in their hangar and they'll keep them stored and safe and never ever use them. So they're going to want to strike that balance between, yes, I risk losing this, but the other advantage is if you're encouraging people to take them out. Now they might have it insured, but say I have a new gun with a new skin on it, and Bops kills me, he boards my ship, and he manages to take it. Now Bops has access to that. So you could literally have events where, only a handful of people are given this thing. Like there's only 10 of them in existence, but they essentially duplicate and spread.
Well, that's the other problem too. Is with insurance comes issues with the player economy and duplicating and making multiple versions of a particular.
I didn't mean duplicate like that. I meant it as in like I know the insurance to get that item back. But now you've taken the item from me. You can now insure that item, and you can get it back. It's all,
which is cool. Which is cool for me to find a unique gun, but then at the same time, how can it be exploited? How can it be
But I'm not-
exploited is the problem.
But I'm not even talking about a new gun. I'm just talking about like a skin that's on a certain gun, right? And they've kind of essentially said that once you get access to certain skins, you will then have access to them forever from the terminals they talked about. Those new terminals they want to bring in the game, you know, and that's clearly how they're going to do all the subscriber flare and stuff like that. They're just going to be, okay, I now have I've put on my armor and I'm wearing the plain white version. I go over here and it shows me the colors in this system that I can paint them. You know, and they kind of talked about that. You essentially, you know, they're just going to become skins at the end of the day. You'll
Here's the problem.
go ahead.
We also know there's going to be degradation, and there'll be a point where you
Yes.
can't. It will disappear. Now I know a lot of people don't like degradation because
Do you mean the skin will disappear or the armor will disappear?
everything, and so you'll have to if you so if you get a
don't think you'll
skin-
lose skins. I think you will be
You-
able to go. So
you will lose skins.
go back and repaint it to
Yes.
look like it was.
but you'll
Yeah,
have
that's what I
you'll
mean.
have to
Yeah,
pay
okay.
you have to pay for it, or you'll have to there'll be
The
some
skin
sort of
will
process.
the skin will physically wear off said item, but you can go back and repaint that item onto it.
Yes, but
Okay, now I'm with you.
but-
I'm with you.
but,
Yeah. You don't mean losing access to the skin. You mean the skin wearing off, right? Yeah, I get
Yeah.
what you mean. Yeah,
And-
yeah.
but like so as a result you'll still have to like pay for it to reapply it because I'm sure you'll
You
have
just
it in
gave
game.
so many people heart attacks with what you said there, by the
Well-
way. Like, people would have gone, no, you can't take that shit off me. I've had it in my inventory for 10 years. Like, no.
But at the same time, like there needs to be some consequences for actions. And
Mhm.
if you have player crafted weapons, they've already said player crafted gear is going to be the best gear. You cannot
Yep.
purchase it.
Well, again, everything's going to be at a baseline. They've literally talked about there being 5 levels. You know, you buy a ship, it comes at level 1, but you can upgrade it to level 5, right? That kind of tells you there's a cost there straight away. So when you're re-getting
Jojo-
your ship back, it's pretty much going to give you back at level 1. It's going to give you back at level 5.
Jojo, I have 2 questions for you.
Mm.
First of all, I'm not really familiar with what like your background was before Star Citizen. And I'm wondering if you have like dabbled in games with things like insurance, like Eve or Tarkov or whatever it might be. And if so, like what's your perspective on this as someone who's newer to the game? Because we've been sold ideas of lifetime insurance since the start.
Mhm.
As someone who's relatively new, what's your perspective on insurance and reclamation of gear and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I have played Tarkov a fair amount, so I'm familiar with insurance and whatnot in that game. I just think the biggest thing they need to make sure they figure out is there has to be some degree of loss, because otherwise you just hoard endless gear and there's no reason to engage with trading with players for rare resources to craft better stuff. You get to the better stuff once and then you never have to do it again. So how they go about that exactly, I think I don't know if I could say what I want at this point, whether
Mhm.
they just give you credits or give you the gear in some different state or whatnot. But yeah, I think the biggest thing though is there needs to be some sort of loss to keep that economy flowing at some point.
I agree. I mean, that's my point, is that there needs to also be a reason for players to craft items and for players to go back to buy new items. So if you are like Bops, you're PvP player, I'm assuming you're not exactly into crafting and all that other sort of things. So if you're going to be getting
Nah.
gear for your ships, you're probably going to go to someone like me or Jojo or Execute or whatever, whoever's making the gear, and be like, I'm going to buy this from you because I want this
Yeah,
best gear.
that's why I'm getting in good with the supply line gamers. That's why I protect them, because I keep these supply line gamers safe now, and then later on they are throwing components at me. Go, Bups, come help me.
Yeah.
Here's a military power supply, and I go,
Yeah.
yes, I'm on my way. Let's go.
But at the same
Yeah, I
time,
think-
there needs to be a reason for you to continue to come back to us to get
Correct.
those things, and so there has to
Yeah.
be some degradation, not just degradation, but
Yeah.
also loss, potential loss.
Loss for sure.
Wear and tear
Yeah,
and
yeah.
monetary is where I think those costs will be.
Mhm.
Wear and tear and monetary. Yeah.
I
And-
don't.
and
I
they've
don't
kind
like
of
the
described
idea.
that across the board.
I've heard the idea of like fighters losing everything the minute you lose it. That's the other thing too is, and this is something we worry about as PvPers, because fighters aren't made to last 40 fights unless you're
Yeah.
some ace, and they've arcadified the system in a way now. And I know there's a lot of PvPers talk about this, so I don't want to harp on it. But there used to be a time when one pilot could take on 40 and be untarnished.
Mhm.
That is not the case anymore with the new
Mm.
flight models, which means that our ships are going to take damage, and we can't take these massive fights.
Hey,
like we
hang on a
used to.
minute. Didn't you just go 2 verse 9 the other day?
I did, and I went 1v15 the day before that. But they were against Bobs, not good pilots.
Yeah.
And my point is that there's gonna come a time where we are going to be taking damage on our fighters, and we're
Mm.
going to experience loss. It's about where they draw the line on what we lose and what degrades, and like you said, forcing us as PvPers to come back to the supply line game players, but then also making sure that the consequences aren't so severe that pirates don't harass supply line gamers, because but also making sure that pirates aren't willing to just throw themselves relentlessly at you guys with no consequence
Yeah.
as well. So
He's got a,
it's a lot of balancing. It's a lot, man. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
Jojo, you
you,
say
you
something?
got a point.
What? No, I wasn't
Oh, I
saying anything.
thought you
Um,
said something.
I was just gonna say, like I've seen Apollos in game when that first came out that were literally worn as hell. But when's the last time you saw a worn fighter? I've never seen one. They just don't last that long. Like this guy had been driving the Apollo around for a week, and I could barely even see the skin on it. It wasn't until I got to the back that I could tell what the skin was. That was crazy. So yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see.
All right.
what-
So Nick, we got a couple more questions. We still have chat. Just look for heads up. We still have an hour and 15 minutes. So with this next 15 minutes, if Jojo or Bops or not execute sticking here because he has to. He dragged me into this. If they have to drop out, they'll drop out. But so
See you, Paul.
yeah.
Oh wait, wrong way.
That's that. If execute drops, I'm dropping. Like.
Oh, sorry, we've just got confirmed. I will stay here for the next 6 hours. Paul will
Yes.
be
Go to bed. Yeah.
Paul
So
will be Paul like this for
so the next
his
question.
tendency to drool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this question for you, Jojo, from Duck Force One, regarding base building. Will you be building to match game mechanics, or will you build to make it seem like a place you could live and have a beautiful layout over efficiency?
Ooh, are you a role player or are you a realist?
I
Very much so.
am not particularly a role player. I'm much more function. Build it for function. Like
Yeah.
when me and a group of friends played like Dune Awakening in the summer, our base was a giant brick with everything put as close together as possible to access it very easily. So I don't know if we'll have the same, like, at least the buildings wise, I don't think we'll have the same customizability as you would in something like Dune. But like just having kind of a dedicated space, this is where all the fabricator machines go, and having it very close by to your freight elevator or wherever you need to get resources from, having that be as efficient as possible is probably the route that I would go. So
I think it's going to be a lot more like a building system where they're prefabricated buildings and that you kind of put rooms in. And I
Yeah.
think the more custom part of it will be where you kind of put furniture and stuff inside it. I think that's probably where it's going to be. And maybe that's where that incident stuff you were talking about, Bobs, comes in.
Possibly.
For me, when it comes to base building, I play this game because it's a space game, and so I have this dream of living out of my ship. Yeah, well, it's the idea of like you pull up to a space station and maybe you're flying your Hornet around this time, so you throw your sack of luggage onto the ground, you go get yourself a room in a cheap bar somewhere, you stay the night, then you're off on your next adventure, or you're in your constellation and after a hard day of fighting or hauling, you slap yourself down into the bed of the spaceship. That's the game that I bought. That's what I want. The idea of having like a location where I have resources and fabricating machines and stuff flowing in and stuff flowing out and all that sort of stuff, that's not for me. I intend to, because we're in an MMO, engage with players that already have those setups. And maybe I stop by for the night, and say, hey, can I log my character off here because I got to go do yada yada yada, and then come back
And
the
then-
next day. So
and-
for me,
And in
it's
return, I'll play my space banjo. That's what you'll do. Sit
yeah, I'll
down
play
by
my
the
banjo or
fire and-
mandolin. I'll be a space bard. I'll see you there. But that's
Yeah.
that's my point though, because the question is, are you a min maxer? Are you going to be fabricating and trying to make profit off of your base,
Mm.
or are you going to be role playing and building a base
Mm.
that's your little home on the prairie somewhere on Monox or whatever it might be? So for me, it's the little house on the prairie. I like the role play aspect more than
Yeah.
the min max aspect.
Interesting.
Alaponus one in chat said, "So a space hobo." Yes, yes. he
Yeah,
is a
exactly.
space hobo.
Yes, Apollo. Yes, exactly a space opera.
For me, I'm kind of split in difference because one of the things that I've always wanted to do since I formed my organization is to build a museum in game.
Mm.
Ooh, ooh.
So to build a museum to house and create that museum as like relics of Star Citizen's lore past. So like getting Ninetales armor.
Did anyone just hear Paul go, "And welcome to Jurassic Park"? Like to the welcome to the Astrohistorian Museum.
Spared no expense. Spared no expense.
Yeah.
But no. So like I want to do like a Siege of Orison exhibit with like Ninetales armors set up, and like if I can get like eventually things like projections or like little blurbs to say like, hey, this is what the lieutenants wore, and
So basically, you want to make the Galactopedia in game.
yeah, kind of, but so people can actually show up and like tour the areas and that kind of stuff. But like that's
You know
I'll
what's
do
going to
that.
happen though, Paul, don't you? You know
people
what's
gonna
going
try to
happen,
steal
mate,
stuff
if
or
you-
blow it up.
Oh no! Someone's going to A2 the shit out of that place.
Which is why-
Friendly A2
they-
inbound.
Which is the reason why you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
build it in hostel spaces. You build it in UE space where no one can
Build it in
touch it.
Lawville. Yeah.
Yeah.
Build it in Lawville. Yeah.
You put it in a place where no one can touch it, and like
yeah.
and someone
I
says,
will, as a fellow historian, I don't have an org,
Yeah.
and I always talk about how I would never have an org. But if you build that museum, I will build an org of dedicated guards to preserve history and the history of
The
our universe, and
librarians.
we will keep it
The
safe.
librarians.
Yeah, exactly,
we have an organization called the League of Relic Enthusiasts, which is like it's
yes.
like we call ourselves we put the AR in archaeology. We perform gunboat archaeology is how we do this. So the whole goal of the organization is to like the slogan is preserving the past from the future. And so right now we go around and collect all the little relics you can find in the game. And that's kind of like what we do. But the idea is to go beyond that. Like if I could, I would legitimately park a freaking Gladius.
It's great fun.
Yeah.
Somebody time out Stego APT. We're not bringing up Von Daniken. Okay, you take your
Oh
ancient
gosh.
aliens.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's the weakness of all of us. That's all of our weaknesses. But like I would legitimately park a Gladius inside this damn thing for like the Tavaran Wars or something like that, so people could be like, oh yeah, it's a Gladius,
awesome.
and explain it like the stuff. So, but yeah, so the that's sort of the whole spiel. But like someone else said, like, oh, you're gonna build a bar. It's like, yeah, but I'm gonna build the bar out of my ship. Like my ship is gonna be a bar, so it's a mobile bar.
Don't you have a 600i called the
Mhm.
Astropod?
It's 600. I call the Astropub. So.
Yeah, cool.
But like that's also a practical thing because the museum is sort of fun, but I'm of course going to charge admission, so we can maintain the
tax.
paces. Well, we got to pay taxes to keep it up there. So you just
I don't know about
don't.
you, boss, but this sounded more and more like a cult.
Then you could have a merch store at the end of the exhibits, like
exactly.
every Disney ride.
Exactly. You exit through the game shop, baby.
Yep.
I'm now thinking about the when he steals the Declaration of Independence in the
National Treasure. Yeah.
National Treasure, and he has to buy the poster.
Mhm.
I think he's still one. Yeah.
On
They're
that
they're
note,
stealing all the
well,
medals. Yeah.
in that case, if you need me to build an org to be at the end of the museum to encourage people to donate, then you just let me know.
Have you brought a souvenir? A succulent Chinese souvenir? No,
Democracy manifest by donating money to the museum. His story is wild, by the way. That guy's story. I listened, watch a documentary. That dude is insane. Like that guy's.
have you seen how he actually met up with the cop that arrested him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was by accident. There was like a complete fluke.
And they're like friends now.
Yeah.
So
Those
he
friends.
I come from a. It's gonna sound really hipster and lame.
I
but
come from
like
a land down under.
Yeah.
No, I come
Oh,
from like
wrong song?
a punk rock background, with playing with
Yeah.
punk bands and stuff. That's what when I was a kid. And he's from Queensland. That video is taken in the Valley in Chinatown, and we all know him. And he's loose. He's very, very loose. That's Australian for a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
And he's been a gentleman, and he turns up to punk gigs all the time. And he's actually all about because of the way he was treated. He's all about freedom of speech and liberties and stuff. And he's quite a cool guy.
Didn't he actually? He performed at a punk music video because of his fame.
He did,
and that's kind of like that part of that.
And a couple of them actually. In a couple.
Yeah.
Of them.
Do you know? I actually remember when it actually originally aired on TV too, when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I was laughing when it happened then.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until like it's literally taken like another 20 to 30 years, and then the internet discovered it. And that's where it really took off in the last couple of years. But it was funny. It was so back then.
I love that what is his name? Zach at CIG was one of the Inside Star Citizens. He had the guy's shirt. This is Democracy Manifest, on him. So I was like, it's kind of an inside joke in the internet to know about that guy. But It's Karu asks, what ships are you expecting from IAE? Anything besides the Perseus? I know Execute is going to have issues. I know Bop's probably, because I want to hear JoJo.
Yeah, me too. I want to hear JoJo first.
The Super Perseus. No, just kidding.
Yeah, Super Perseus.
No. I mean, they said there would be a lot in November a couple of months ago. So I'm expecting at least 4 to 5 new things. Perseus, of course. I think the
names.
Yeah, the Perseus, the RSI starter salvage, I think is pretty much guaranteed.
Yep.
Do
you have a code name for that yet?
I don't. I have no idea.
I'm going with Lyra. Because it's the sound of a so when you look up star constellations, a lyra is like a harp, and we know that it's got to do powder from the thing that's left, so it's like fingering the powder.
Yeah.
So I called it a lyra.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, it's total bullshit. I just had really cool, like people says a name and it just sticks. Like the Flappy Bird that just came out of my mouth and it freaking stuck.
Well,
anyway,
I could say Taurus maybe. That'd be a good name for it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I do like that one.
Yeah,
wait, no, Taurus is already. There already is one. The constellation Taurus. What are you talking about? There already is a Taurus.
Oh, there is a Taurus?
Oh wait. Oh yeah, no, but it's CIG, so we can have 7 of them. It's all good. Yeah, we'll just use it again.
Yeah, so those two, there's probably going to be a ground vehicle.
Tired, by the way.
So those two.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a ground vehicle of some sort. There was actually, it's
Atlas platform.
It could be that, although in some of the leaks, I think that were in 4.3.1, there was some specific ground-to-air missiles, size 1 and size 2, that were data mined.
Yeah,
I've heard some people speculate that might be for an MTC missile variant.
Yeah.
MTX.
Yeah.
MTX.
So that's the other possibility for a ground vehicle. So I think either that or whatever the Atlas platform
I totally
thing is.
forgot about that one. I got to write that one down.
That was the one that looked like it had
totally forgot about
tracks. We thought it was a half track for a while.
Yeah, MTX. Yeah. Totally forgot about that one. That's a good call. I'll give you that one.
Maybe one of the other silhouette ships, maybe the CNOU one or the Flappy Bird possibly, and then probably something that we don't know. I don't know if maybe the Hermes. Maybe the Hermes will be the December ship though, like the end of year ship. You never know.
We have to definitely bring you in for a speculation session. See, just think like
What you gotta do-
change just listening. Yeah.
What you got to do is bring him
Bring
in
him
to like a speculation session to a video on the ships of IAE. You know,
Well, I think I'll get Grim. What I want to do, right? What I said to Grim, I was saying to him, like, if we go to CitizenCon,
Mhm.
I want to try and get us every ship guy I can think of, and get Ben, John, the entire ship team, and just take him out to dinner, and just like for 6 hours we just go to fucking town.
yeah.
I reckon it would be fucking amazing just to have
have-
all those people in the same room.
I have many questions for John Crew about the battleship Bengal.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
The I've been calling it the integrity.
Yeah.
Because it's we know lore thing. There is we know because of the Galactopedia, there is a ship called the UES Integrity. It is a cruiser, and we know in the Battle of Vega, one of the ships was labeled the UES Integrity, and it was the battleship Bengal. It was that one. So we know that the ships that had the big cannons on them are cruisers, but according to CIG. But again, CIG's at the UEE's classification system makes no goddamn sense when it comes to actual naval vessels. So
You need a button you can press that goes lore thing. Bing, 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 bing.
yeah,
Lore thing, lore time.
lore. Well, it's one of those.
Lore.
That was one of those. That's one of those examples where like we heard about this new lore and it's like this comes kind of weird, comes out of nowhere. Why they talked about this random ship in lore, and it's like, oh, because they wrote about it because it's a squadron thing. So,
Bops.
Bops, what
Yeah,
do you think? And I'll be right back.
Pretty much a lot of what Jojo said. I think all of us are going to say a lot of what Jojo said. But there's something that no one's mentioned. They said that they were reassessing the favorite, the F8, and whether or not it may or may not go on sale. And I think being that in all of the CitizenCon footage, the F8 was freaking everywhere, and all that footage, all of the planetary footage,
That's
the
true.
F8 was
Yeah, they
flying
were
around.
just using the F8. Yeah.
They were using it consistently and constantly. Being that the Stinger has come out and it's been about, I reckon there's going to be something related to the F8A, and the F8 being the F8C being the F8C being resold, the F8A being an upgrade token or something like this.
They could
I
possibly update it to the current squadron model, because the one we've seen that's used by Squadron 42 is different than the one that we have.
Well, that
indicated.
could be the F8.
It's
Could be the F8X.
no, it's
and then,
not the F8X, because when they've talked about it in all the branding, and like a few months ago in the Squadron newsletter, when they gave us like some screenshots of the ships, the ones that are talking about the F8 and the F7X, it specifically says F7X and F8 Lightning. It does not specify it's an F8X.
yeah, there you go. So cool. Well, yeah, that's my point. Is like a lot of the stuff you mentioned, I 100% agree with, but I think something's up with the F8. I don't know what. I just think something's
Yeah.
going on, which is good because every single time I boot my game, one of my mates says, "Can I fly your F8?" And I have to sit around for 8 minutes, wait for it to appear at the terminal, then
Congrats,
go and
disappointment.
yeah, go take it out and have a bad time. Although, hey, it's actually really bugged at the moment and can pull a pitch about as fast as a Gladius. Go see if you can
Okay,
figure it
well,
out.
I guess I'll pull that back out.
All right.
Also,
So
real quick, excuse
go ahead,
one
go ahead,
one
go
other
ahead.
thing is I guess two is probably we'll see the Aurora rework come in at IAE, because it
Oh,
sounded like
yeah,
from the
yeah,
last
yeah.
monthly
Potentially.
report. It sounded like
Potentially,
from the monthly report they were almost done with it already, and
It's not a very big ship, so yeah.
yeah, and then maybe they're done with the Hammerhead stuff by that point. So
Mm.
maybe we see that as well.
The other one I'll add before I go into what I actually want to talk about was all the bespoke weapon stuff they talked about coming at the end of the year. So I think we could get a lot of little mini variants across across AIE and stuff like that. So, you know,
Yeah.
one that I know Grim's talked about a lot, and I know you talked to Grim as well. So, you know, you take the Ares and you put a beam weapon on it. It's meant to be the year of beam weapons. For fuck's
Yeah.
sake, we've only seen the Aegis. That means there's a fuckload of beams left to come if it's the year of beams. You know, so
Perseus beam
I'm
weapons.
yeah, exactly. Like there's a whole bunch of little things that they could chuck in there. So expect
Yeah.
some little surprises, not ships, but like something along the lines of kits. And
Cool.
if they're not kits, Go ahead.
There'll probably be the Wolf laser kit
The
as
wolf,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we all
yeah.
just saw that in chat,
yeah,
and yeah,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
definitely going to be the wolf. And with
It's
that, with the thought of the wolf, we
they
might
did
get the medial lasers instead of
well, they
ballistics
did
as well.
mention more stuff coming from the wolf in at the end of
Yeah.
the year. They did actually say that.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's
But
all.
shout out
That's the thing
was
that's the thing I'm trying to remind you guys of. So what the fuck have I done here? What the fuck? I was like, okay, sorry, I was strangling myself. Right. So when I look at AIE, I look at it slightly different over the last couple of years, right? I don't look at the ships. I use a process of elimination and work backwards, right? So, excuse me. We know that they generally try to sell one ship in every price category, so to speak. So we tend to have like a ground vehicle, a small, a medium, a large, a capital, right? And generalistically, over the last couple of years, we've only had a large or a capital, right? We don't get both, right? So we tend to have 4.
Mhm.
And guess what's on the roadmap? 4 unannounced ships, right? In the last monthly report. We haven't got this month's yet, but we got last, right? And so we basically had the Shiv come out. That was the only one that we didn't really know that was announced. So that gets removed. And then the Stinger we knew about. So it was kind of announced. It's been out for over a decade. We knew about it. So that's been announced. But then we have the RSI Salvager, as you said, which is pretty much a given. So that takes another one off. We now have 2 left. We've now heard about this Hermes, which takes another one off. So now there's only 1 left, right? And you can cover the rest with things like, well, their ships, not ground vehicles. So your MTX does come back in, as does the Atlas platform. But what's this last one here, right? And the only one I have any evidence of or anything that we've ever heard talked about was when they did the SL in September with John and Ben, he mentioned an orange large salvager. Now, they don't just throw things out like that unknowingly, but they show that there was other ships they threw out in there, right? They like, and
Mhm.
things of that has already changed too, because they said there's 2 ships coming in October, one with bespoke weapons. Well, we got 3 ships, and yeah, the only one that had a bespoke weapon was the Stinger, right? So it did kind of come to pass, but we got an extra ship, right? So what I'm trying to say is, when I look back at that, we also need to add some other things in here for context. You've got the Nomad, and you've got the Pioneer. You need to bridge that gap to build out that tile set from a Nomad to Pioneer. So we know we've got to get a medium Sinu ship that's on the silhouettes, but it also means we need a large one. Now, they talk about a large orange salvager. Now, I think, again, John is very clever, as is Ben. They very carefully chose the word orange to misdirect to Argo, but we clearly know that they need a Sinu ship. So I think it was a misdirect to make people think an Argo salvager is coming, but I think it's
So-
actually a Sinu.
so does that lean back to, remember we were just talking about, I can see the picture still in our chat here.
Yeah.
The orange color scheme for IAE, the darker orange in the corner, which is the Sinu orange down in the corner
Exactly.
of the picture.
Yeah.
So maybe Sinu are the sponsor of the.
There's so
of the
many
event.
different ways you can take
But-
it. That's what I
So,
mean. Like, it's
sorry,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
go ahead.
excited, so I'm talking over you. I apologize.
No, that's fine.
There's no way, if they do Sinu as the sponsor, which they very well could. There's
Mhm.
no way there's one Sinu ship. They're not going to release one and then go.
Traditionally, traditionally, it's only ever been one. It has only ever been one.
That's with ship companies that are already filled out. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
It's
So maybe they
Okay.
so
let me answer.
so maybe we've got like a
traditionally
smaller
the
Sinu ship
sponsor-
and a medium Sinu ship or something, instead of the one.
So it goes both ways, right? So traditionally, it was usually the larger ship manufacturer was the sponsor, but not always, because like the year the Sulian was the sponsorship, or Gatak,
Yeah.
it was the starter ship, right? So there's precedents for both. I've tried to look at how they could release, because when I come down to the one ship left, right, I think it's got to be a Sinu ship, because when I look at the Hermes, it's a large, but they talk about a large salvager, so that's 2 ships in the same size category, right? So I start to look to the medium Sinu ship instead, right? So the way I've kind of worked it out is, if I was going to release it for every ship that we know about to fall into the lineup, you would essentially have to have the RSI salvager, a medium Sinu, a large Hermes, right? And they come at AIE along with a vehicle. And then we know that in December, they often release another ship for the patch ship, and that could be the large salvager. I don't see them.
To see if you're right.
Traditionally, they don't sell ships in the same size category or even the same type, right? We just saw 3 gunships released. That's the first time we've ever seen them sell 3 ships of the same type at a sale. So selling an RSI salvager and a large salvager is something up until this point I would have said they would never do. But I've just seen them break that rule, right? So again, there's 2 ways they can go now. They can essentially go large salvager, RSI salvager, and the Hermes drops to December. That's the only thing I haven't really decided on. What is the order? Because look at the order. You've got RSI salvager, medium Xenu, large Xenu that's also a salvager, and then a month later you get a large Hermes. I just don't think the Hermes is going to sell very well. And Paul, we've talked to you about this as well. They tend to sell from worst to best.
Yeah.
So my brain goes, put the Hermes in AIE, and then you'll have more money to milk out of people in December with a large salvager.
Yeah.
That's just where my
Hermes
brain
feels
goes.
like
If they do a
Hermes feels like
patch.
IAE filler.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what we've heard about it is it's a Apollo variant. It sounds like that's
Yeah.
modified to do cargo maybe, and
I think it's
maybe some
data.
data running, maybe some
Yeah.
data
Yeah.
running. So
And whatever the other vehicle is, whether it's MTX or an Atlas platform variant, I think the other comes at Invictus, right? So I sit here and think about base building being on the cusp of things. I lean more towards the Atlas platform of being the one that they would have gone for.
Yeah.
And the NTX for me drops to Invictus next year because it's more military. That's where my brain goes. But I think you've got a really good point because you reminded me of something I'd forgotten about, which was the MTX.
Yeah.
here's one more potential X. Do you think there's any room that we could get a salvage variant of the Atlas?
Like the ATLS.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 100% on the cards. Go into Astro Armada. You been to Astro Armada in a long time?
Not recently.
So
I won't say anything. Just go in there.
Let me show
Oh,
it.
you do it then.
I have
I was
it.
gonna say nothing and let him find it on his own.
I have it. I love doing this because I'm a stompy
This
robot
went
guy.
into what was
So-
it? What was the year? I'll let you tell the story. But was it like 2020 when we found that?
Yeah, but it was
2020?
It's been around since the Reclaimer was released.
Yes,
So,
it's been in game since that time. It is 100% a thing, right? Because that's the one that went in game.
Mhm.
I was actually surprised we didn't get that in September. To be honest with you, that's when I was expecting another Titan suit type thing. But nope.
Astro, can I just, while you're finding that, ask you just a really brief side note derail question that has
Sure.
a very quick yes or no answer. Are you pro or against the blessed Irby mech?
I am a fan of the Irby mech because
Thank you.
the Irbies are must be preserved at all costs because they are
Is this
also
like Herbie the beetle bug from
Kind-
the kids TV show?
Something
kind
like that.
Yeah. the best way of describing the urban mech is like
Herbie Beetle?
it's like the 8TLS of BattleTech. It's not the ATLS, the MPUV. It's the MPUV of BattleTech.
You can tell a lot about a person by how they answer that question too,
Yeah.
whether they're pro or against the Irby. So
Yeah. If you like the Irby, you're the same kind of person who would
Send me a
like
picture, Bobs.
the MPUV. It's hard to really describe the trash can because it's other than the trash
it's a
can.
trash can.
It's not. It's more than just
Oh,
a trash
so it's
can.
wah! It's wah!
Very close
Right.
to it, but it's
Oh right.
it's if you slapped a giant can into a trash can that's about the size of a 1-story building. A 2-story building. Oh gosh, I'm trying to find it. I have it here. I know I have it here. It's just a matter of where I have it.
Yeah, I think we are due for a lot more ground vehicles once base building comes along. I think we're going to be eating really pretty, especially if they've got those turrets online and you can put turrets up to defend your base and stuff. Oh, I think ground based combat's going to just not just combat though, but like all of the ground based stuff will take off. Like I think we'll see mortars come in pretty quickly after. We know they're a thing because of the storm. How they talk about getting into the back line and taking the mortars out with the storm. It's just going to be really interesting. Like I think we'll start to get a Battlefield-esque.
we're still so far from it though. I mean, last night we tried to just drive some cars on the planet. That's it. That's all we did was just try to drive. And I was in the passenger seat and I had someone in the driver's seat of the car. I can't remember which one it was, but the gun on the back broke just from driving.
Again?
No big turns. No big turns.
They
the gun on the
talked
back
about
broke.
that in Genesis. They talked about it in the Genesis, man. Remember they talked about the rocks all pissing off?
But this was on flat surface, no rocks, no bumps. It's just
Oh.
the desync shook the car hard enough that it broke the gun on the back, and then
That's so
I moved
weird.
to the passenger seat, and the shake on my screen, not from like the car vibrating along surfaces, again flat surface, just the desync shake made me so. I actually got motion sick and had to tell the person driving the car to get out of it. So I think land vehicles are being
No, you
very
get
heavily
out. You just
affected.
kick them out of their own car. Right, okay, that's how it works.
No,
I'm
no,
a streamer,
I
get
got out. I got out and got into a fury. That's what I did.
Alright,
But my point
yeah.
is that the networking is so rough because there was a European who was driving the car, so the server was trying to sync it with him
Oh,
and me.
I know
and
who
it was
that
going
was.
all
That
jagged.
was Slipcore. Slipcore?
It wasn't Slipcore. Slipcore was in another
Ah.
car. Wait,
Oh,
wait.
God damn it.
Slipcore was in another car with someone else. I can't remember who. Maybe Meltmar. And they were having the exact same issues where they couldn't sit in the passenger
Mm.
seat because it was making them motion sick because they were
Alright.
teleporting all over the place and stuff. So
I have it up
land
here.
vehicles got a long way to go.
Let me. I'm gonna kind of. I'm gonna have it here.
Oh, that's the
Let me show it real quickly on screen. So this right here is an Astro Armada.
Yep.
If you see this
Is
poster,
that a low grab atlas?
yes.
Yeah, it looks like it. 0G.
This
Yep.
this has been around since at least 2018, which means the
Yeah.
Atlas
And we-
has been at least a thing in CIG's mind for most
a very
of the-
long time.
a very long time, if not most of Star Citizen.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes to the whole story of like the Atlas being super modular as well. Like that
Mhm.
backpack thing, we now know there's at least one other backpack that makes it like work in atmosphere. You can already see it in the tools that we have that the hands come off and they change interchangeable tools. It's a completely modular vehicle that does lots of different utility. That's clearly what it's going to be when it hits the final game. You'll be able to take that jump pack and put it on, or you'll be able to put a thing on. I don't think they're going to literally sell them as 3 separate things. I think it'll be highly modular in the final game. Or at least that's my thoughts, because it makes so much more sense to make it modular like that. So
We'll see.
Like,
Because I think
Well,
if they do a
you can
hard
grab the
vacuum,
back-
if they do a hard vacuum
can-
version like this, where you can like
Yeah.
actually like EVA, I think that'll always be unique. But you could probably maybe swap some of those things.
well,
out.
you can track the beam the backpack right now. It just won't come off. If it was hard, you wouldn't be able to track the beam it.
Yeah, if it was modeled to the
But
to
you
the
can
back.
but you can also use a stim stick to heal a Atlas.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well,
it's
that's
not
'cause
really
it's technically
working
a-
like
it's
it's
technically a
supposed to.
human. Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
it's-
I
But
figured
you
out
get my
you could-
point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get my point.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
I think we covered everything on the ships, though, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
So yeah. But yeah. So there's nothing really like again. I think we can all safely say, Joe, you'd agree with me on this because I know you do leaks a bit more than these two. But we'll probably know most of this maybe a week out, or at least a couple of days out before it kind of goes live as the builds come in.
It'll be interesting to see how much has been scrubbed or not included in the Evo builds that then gets data mined. I mean, there's usually even if the ships themselves
True.
aren't, usually there's weapon
Signs.
descriptions or other signs
Mm.
like that
Yeah,
that kind of give some indication. So we'll probably know in the next
They
couple
were
of days a little
very
bit more.
good. They were very good with CitizenCon this year.
Yeah.
They were so good. They were on their A game. They did really well. We didn't know about the Shiv. Well, most of us thought it was going to be that Mustang
Yeah.
Hornet looking thing, didn't we?
Yeah.
We didn't realize it was the Cutlass looking one.
Yeah. We assumed it was
you
getting
know,
smaller because the name Shiv. you know?
Yeah. Small little knife. Like it made sense. So now we're going to sit there and what? Hey, Bops, what was the name you made up for the Mustang looking thing?
I don't remember. I did have a name for it, but I don't remember.
The buckler.
I don't know. Buckler is a great goddamn name.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it was.
It would be a fun take on it because it's got Buccaneer engines. So
The
yeah, it's the
nail.
Buccaneer engine.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
F8 nose.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah, I like
it's
nail.
smaller than a
I
knife.
like nail.
Nail.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
All right, let's
I
move
don't know,
on.
something like that.
Let's move on. We
All
still, by the way, we are now past 24 hours. We're at 24 hours and 15 minutes.
Woo!
So we still got
Let's
45
go,
minutes
Asher.
left.
only listen, 23 hours ago now, Paul. Let's go. Woo!
And by the way, Astro did say before that if you guys can hit 5,200, he'll stream for another 12 hours. So
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't.
Away.
No, I didn't. Absolute false news, lies.
Slander.
Jacob asks, what manufacturer would you like the battle cruiser to be, and what function would you like it? Would you like? Well, battle cruiser is very clearly big guns, lots of armor. Like it's.
I would like it
It's-
to be Anvil.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
Anvil.
really,
gotta be
really
Anvil.
obviously got to be Anvil.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about this at length, so it's maybe a good time to let Bops and Jojo talk about this a little bit, but we'll set the stage here. Lore-wise, I think, I don't know if you agree with me on this, Paul, but I think it's very clearly they are still showing their lore through the progression of Squadron.
Mhm.
I think we're essentially seeing Aegis in the first episode. We'll move into something kind of unique in the second episode. I think it might be Drake. That's why we don't have the Drake medium and heavy fighters. And then I think in the third episode, we'll probably move into the newer stuff with Anvil and maybe some larger Aegis capitals as well. Sorry, I said that the wrong way around. Anvil capitals and Aegis fighters, because there are some Aegis fighters that we don't have too. Like we've only got the Saber, but where are there other ones? You know, we've got the
There
Vanguard.
are the
but
medium
then-
fighters you're saying execute.
Shut up! Yeah, basically. but Bob's has got an obsession with medium fighters, but he'll talk about that now. But he's not wrong, right? There is a reason why these are missing, and I think they're tied to Squadron. Do you agree with me, Paul, in hindsight, or vaguely, so we can get these guys to answer? Or just wanna give me
Generally,
your spin
there's
on
going to
that?
be a progression. Yes,
I'm paraphrasing, I know, but
I don't think we'll see Drake, but I do. There's definitely going to be a progression out of the Idris into another ship, and out of the Gladius into another ship, because that's how Wing Commander works. Wing Commander works with you working up your way from the ships, and so it's
Okay.
Wing Commander. So, but
because my speculation at the moment is the Kraken is being built because it's in episode 2.
it might be, but I think it's going to be an enemy ship in episode 2.
Oh, I think the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and I think the humans are gonna the criminals that you're chasing, and then the Vandal turn up.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna turn up and save you, just as the Vandal about to fuck you up. I think they're gonna come in and save you, and your ship gets destroyed, and they join you. Now I know you've listened to the storyline, so you're probably sitting here going, "Ah, you are so wrong," and maybe I am.
I
It
don't.
sounds cool to me.
I think that's a
It's
different
redemption.
story.
It's human redemption. It's
I
a
know.
redemption story.
But it's also a
The
different
criminals
story.
turn around.
I think it's a
Yeah,
different
yeah.
story.
Okay.
I don't think that's a Squadron story, because Squadron's always very much like a mystery / adventure story. So,
It'd be
okay,
so cool to be on a Kraken though.
it would be.
and have those junker ships and stuff that you start out in episode 2 and then go back to, like, say, a Polaris or something like that
or
at the end of episode
maybe
2.
you
yeah.
get captured and you end up on a
Ooh, Vandal. Ooh, yeah,
not by the
true,
Vandal,
true, true.
but by pirates, and end up on a Kraken, and then have to steal one of the junker ships to leave. You know,
That too, that works as well.
'Cause that's-
that's more of an
that's-
action adventure. The
that's-
swashbuckling story, yeah.
that's
yep.
basically what one of the stories of Cal Mason was
Yep.
for Cassandra's Tears. So
Right, so now we've tanged like crazy. Back to Bob's and JoJo. If
Yeah,
you
so-
even remember the question.
so I don't even remember the question was, because
I remember what it was. So they're saying,
Yeah.
what,
Oh, with the
what's
battle
what's
cruiser.
the battle cruiser going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jojo. So I've got this crazy love. And I'm gonna lead into the Anvil battle cruiser. I got this crazy love for mediums at the moment, and I want to see more of them in the game, because the only mediums we really have are Hornets, and millions of different types of Hornets. But Hornets, a Saber, and then a couple of alien ships. That's
Mhm.
basically it. And there's a real gap in it. So I think that they use Anvil as the baseline to determine quite a lot of their ships. So Anvil is always the medium baseline for, this is where we want to sit, and we'll go higher and lower than this. The Hornet's the upgunned medium fighter, but there's one stuff that's heavier and the stuff that's going to be lower than it. You look at the light fighters, the arrow sits pretty close, firmly in the middle, with like light fighters moving down towards interceptors, etc., etc., etc. So I would think if they're going to make a battle cruiser, and they're going to make multiple battle cruisers long term for the game, that they're probably going to establish it with, this is the Anvil battle cruiser. In lore, we know that RSI, Anvil, and Aegis have all worked with the military, the UEE, but Anvil is currently, I believe, the most prominent with the UEE. So it would just make sense that they are throwing us their decommissioned Anvil battle cruiser tech, the UEE, because they're making strides with RSI, I think, at the moment. So it sort of works. It works with the balancing, but it also works with the narrative lore as well. Correct me if I'm wrong there too, by the way, Paul. Yeah.
You muted, Paul.
What do you think, Jed?
Anvil's on the ascendants for sure. They're
Anvil's on the right. Yeah.
they're on the rise from RSI has always been there, but they've kind of like they are sort of because they have and had the facilities after the fall of the Mezzers, they were the immediate choice to build bigger ships. But now we also see RSI dipping into the smaller ships with the Scorpius, and now the Meteor. So like, does the UEE let Anvil build a bigger ship? Possibly. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me just thinks like we already have a lot of capital Aegis ships and capital RSI ships.
Yep.
So just going off of that, it feels fair to just have Anvil make the battle cruiser. I do wonder if as a part of doing that, because I feel like at least size-wise, the battle cruiser sounds like it'll sit somewhere between a Javelin and a Bengal, so somewhere around probably 600 or 700 meters, I would guess. I do wonder if there would be, like, if they would want to build something, say, maybe Polaris or Idris-sized anvil, because I think the biggest anvil ship right now is the Carrack, I want to say.
Yeah.
Nautilus. Oh, sorry, in-game. My bad.
No, Aegis.
Nados is Aegis
That's
too.
Aegis.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I do wonder if there'd be some other space they'd want to do, again, Polaris or Idris size capital for Anvil first. Although from what they've
Absolutely.
said, they're already working on. They said they're in concept. They're working on the concept for the battlecruiser right now. And they said what I think they remember. They said it was going to be unlike any capital ship that we have currently. So
You-
what that means, I don't know.
I think what you're
Judge,
describing is essentially you've got a size for an S5 and an S6 is what you're describing. So you've got a ship above the Carrack, which becomes your first capital. So think about an Odyssey size ship. If you're going above the Carrack, it's the next Explorer up. And the Odyssey is a Corvette just like the Polaris is. So that is literally what you're describing. And I agree with you. And then the battle cruiser would fall into the S6 territory. And I agree with you again.
And one more thing to point out too, and I cannot stop going on about this, and I really hope this message gets to CIG. The Paladin was them figuring out the Anvil interior design language in the same way that they have been building out
Yep.
the RSI ships with like the Polaris and now the Perseus to better understand the design, like the Zeus, for example, to better understand the design language of RSI. If you walk through that Paladin, the whole point of that ship for them
Yep.
internally, besides to make money, was to visually design out Anvil. You look and they've got their new color scheme, where you have like orange glow with red lights and green palette. You've got
Yep.
Yeah.
blue white lights for to expand spaces. You've got the hexagonal doors, the new fold out stairs, the stair design for both the center of the ship and what comes out. That whole ship, the new type of glass they've got on the floor in the cockpit. Everything about that Paladin was an exploration conceptually for further design of Anvil ships.
Mhm.
And by the way, perfectly executed. I love it.
If you-
I think
Oh
it's
yeah,
spectacular.
it's
if you-
gorgeous. It's so good.
If you take that and roll that back to things like the Carrack and the Terrapin, delicious.
Yeah, that's
I'm
I think,
really looking forward to them
Legionnaire.
going back and bring Legionnaire as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Any interior that carries that over, but also I think Paul, you could probably highlight on this as well. There is a lore difference there. We've got the Jace Aerospace era along to the more more modern Anvil is 600 years. So like RSI, you're going to have different stylings. So it depends. I don't know where the Paladin falls. Paul, where does the Paladin fall in that lineup? Is it more
Almost
modern?
certainly
in the middle,
modern.
or-
Almost certainly modern.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we have a
okay.
good idea of their progression. It's the only reason why I did my complete history of Anvil video. And generally speaking, it's Hurricane is Case Aerospace, then the Terrapin, then the Hornet, then the Carrack, then the what's after the Carrack? We don't know about the Crucible. I think the Gladiator, maybe. No, the Hawk. It's right. It's the no. I think the Hawk is a little later. It's
Paul is tired, people. If
Well,
you didn't know,
it-
Paul
it's-
is
it-
tired.
it's the Hawk and the Gladiator are very close behind each other, but I think it's the Gladiator
Yeah.
then the Hawk. Oh no,
Have you run any
it's
fingers yet, Paul?
yes. So Hurricane, Terrapin, Carrack,
Mm.
F7 or no F7 Carrack,
Mm.
and we're not even Carrack. It goes F7 Valkyrie Carrack, Ballista. Technically, it's called the Atlas, which they had
Yep,
because it was
platform.
it was originally called the Atlas, and then eventually became the Ballista, the Centurion, and then the Centurion and the other ones came later. But then
Spartan. Yep.
the Spartan came later. But then after that, it's the Gladiator, then the Hawk, then the F7A or F7C, and then the F7A Mark II, or the F8A, and then F7A Mark II, and that's where we are now. So like the Legionnaire and the Paladin are brand new. Like they came out in the last 20, 30 years. So
I think just to highlight what you're saying there, Paul, it's really cool to see the juxtaposition between the only kind of two. Maybe there's another one I'm missing, but the Hurricane, which is a heavy fighter, and the F8, that's a heavy fighter. Same manufacturer, completely different looks, right? Like, and that shows you the time period. You've essentially got one right at the start and one right at the end.
Yeah.
And that's the type of thing I'm talking about. We need to see more of that. If this question is finished, I do have a thing I think I would be really cool to talk about, especially why Jojo's here and I've got you here, Paul. And I think Bops, you'll probably enjoy this one as well. This came up a few times on the sneak peek this week with the cockpit coming out of the Perseus. I mean, last week, not this week, sorry. Knowing the Paladin and how well that turned out, and then essentially removing the older, chunkier seats, how do you explain that, Paul, in lore terms, where it was meant to be this older design? I thought it would have not had the modern Zeus look.
we're talking about which one?
About the
I will.
Perseus.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
the Perseus?
Perseus cockpit. Hang on,
I can tell you why.
I'll,
The easy answer. This is this is a retrofit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I went, but it really pisses me off because after I've seen the Paladin, they've just kind of ruined it. So if I send this to the group, hang on. So this is the
Perseus-
actual sneak peek,
so-
Paul.
So the original Perseus was very old. So the exterior is the same. They kept the exterior, but then they changed the interior because after the Battle of Oberon, after Operation Mandrake, the last stand of the Achilles made Admiral Bishop so pleased with the ship that he said we need to put this back in production. So they had to redo. It's called Project Perseus because they had to redo the Perseus from the ground up in terms of keeping the same superstructure but in updating the internals. So that's the reason why it looks.
So it's
more
only
modern.
the internals that'll be different.
Yes.
Do you think it'll be all over or patchwork?
I think it'll be all over. I think because they basically just took the Perseus or the Polaris interiors and then reused them. You know.
Can you open those two images I sent into the group chat? Because that
Can I
kind of
also
highlights what I'm
add-
talking about. Yeah, go, Bob.
Ben seems to not like the idea of ships having dated character. I've heard him talk about it again and again and again, and he keeps like talking about how his ships have to be like beautiful and pristine, and he wants them to look like they're like some kind of like luxury product. So I don't think he would, and whether or not you agree with him, I don't. And I might be putting words in his mouth, but I don't think he would let the interior of the Perseus be ragtag, Spitfire, like military holding together.
Yeah.
I think he's
Sorry,
going to want
Bob.
this new executive deluxe.
Hang on, Bobs. Just let me explain this, Bob. Sorry. So see how it's got really chunky seats there in the white concept image, and then if you go back to the other image, they've essentially turned them into a Polaris.
Yeah.
So it's really lost that old school aesthetic look there. All right, sorry, Bobs.
Aesthetic.
Continue.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. X is.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll let there be that classic aesthetic. I think the entire thing's going to look like the inside of a Zeus. I think.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit disappointed by that because I think
me
it would
too.
have been really cool to see an older styling of RSI, like again, they you can talk to this more than me, Paul. They've got the largest set. They've been 900 years,
Mhm.
and if we're seeing that from an from a Hurricane to an F8, I would have loved to have seen a ship. And by the way, I think the Perseus, when it originally came out, was only 400 years back from now in the lore. Is that correct? About
Yeah,
400 years
it's
ago?
about 400
And they
years.
stopped making it about 100. Yeah, so it lasted for about 300 years. They've stopped it for about 100, and now they're starting again.
Mhm.
I would have liked to have seen it a bit more patchworky. So maybe the bridge has been updated in a couple of other rooms, but I would have liked to seen other rooms that are just that they still
Old
have a
style.
shit around, so they just use the old style. I think that would have been far cooler. It would have told a story. Even parts that were like jerry rigged, where they've just like like there's a bunch of cabling along the wall, and they've just like run a conduit. When you go to someone's house and the house is like 100 years old, and they've put conduit in the house for the LAN cables and all that. Something akin to that is what I'm talking about, and I know you know what I'm talking about.
All right,
That's 'cause you all
chat's doing some weird things. The Perseus we're
Okay.
getting in game is not a secondhand Perseus. You are not buying a Perseus secondhand from the military. These are built specifically for militia. They're built for militia and the military, but they're mostly built for militia. So what you're getting is not a hand-me-down. It is brand new, off the factory lot from RSI.
Yeah.
That's the important thing to note, because the reality is there were like 6 Perseuses left in the entire fleet during the Battle of Oberon. One of them was destroyed, called the Achilles. So most of them were basically defunct because they stopped making them 100 years before the Battle of Oberon. So these were just like all ships, everyone on deck. We got to defeat this invasion of Oberon. So why
And
does
then
the
it had
Reclaimer
its
Idris
redemption arc.
look worn? Because the Idris is a hand-me-down.
Yep.
That's the difference.
And the Reclaimer is a civilian ship, not a military one by
Yeah.
ages.
And the reason why
We,
the Reclaimer looks so funky and worn is because it's the Nostromo. It's rule of cool.
Yeah.
It's not because of logic.
Yeah.
We were talking about this on your stream, the Inforunner stream, X, when I was going through an algorithm. Probably the main reason they got rid of the consoles is just for mobility of players. You walk through the Freelancer, and it's the most heinous experience of your life. Even the Stinger that's just come out. I was trying to walk past someone in the Stinger yesterday and took 75% health damage just walking past them because of how tight the internals of the
So
Stinger is.
one person ship. Why was there 2 people in this thing? Oh, you get my point.
Yeah, you see what my point is, and I
No
think that,
more
like,
picnics and lovemaking in the Stinger, Bobs. Right? No more taking him over for
my
hot
Stinger
dates
is
in Stinger.
Stimkey whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, the I think that's basically they just removed the consoles just for player space and player movement, which is not what I want, but I think that is where the explanation comes from. It's just mobility.
What about you, Jojo? Where do you kind of land on that? Would you prefer it new and pristine, or do you like that old kind of feel that they had in the Paladin?
I mean, I like the look of how the consoles are from the concept images, but I understand why they've done it this way, because
Yeah.
they already have the civilian RSI kit, they have the military RSI kit. We want the ships out faster. They're getting the ships out faster, and this is how they're doing it. They're utilizing stuff they already have. So a little bit of a byproduct of that, but we get the ship faster. So
No,
All
I'll
right.
say that.
We still got about 20-something minutes left.
Paula's
I am
seconds,
counting
guys.
down so I can end this and go to sleep.
You haven't started speaking in tongues yet, like last time. So that's
Dan
pretty good.
the Welder asks, does it make sense that RSI to make every ship under the sun, or should should ship company have specialization? I would be so disappointed if Argo could not make a salvager. RSI should make every type of ship that exists, because A, it is its design style. B, it's named after Chris Roberts, the founder of the company. They're going to make the lore is one thing, but the lore is reflective of the realities of the game. And the realities of the game that the designers want is they want Chris Roberts to say, I have all of the ships in the game. All of my ships can do all of the things I want to do. The lore supports.
Wasn't he literally the founder of RSI?
He is
or
literally
something
the
like that as well?
he is literally the
Yeah,
founder
yeah.
of RSI. It's an
Yeah.
alternate reality Chris Roberts, but
Yeah,
it's still
yeah.
Chris Roberts,
And he founds it in like 2040 or 2050 or something like that. Like it's,
2030 something. Yeah, 2030, 2040
yeah.
something.
We're almost there, guys. We're
Yes.
all.
Maybe we'll have Squadron by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it does make sense only in the context of like, does that mean that Argo can't have a salvager? No, I don't think Argo makes sense to have a salvager, but it doesn't mean they can't have it. Remember, at the end of the day, it's rule of cool. If CIG thinks it's going to be cool, they'll do it.
You're talking about double ups, Paul. I think we eventually will see double ups,
Oh, yeah.
but they've always talked about getting one ship in every slot in the grid first before they do double ups. So
Yep.
I do, and I think like real life, you're more likely to see double ups at the bottom end. Like I don't expect to see a ship that directly competes with a Pioneer, as an example, ever. I just don't think that's going to be a thing. It's just too much work, and they're too big, and they're it's too much. But maybe a medium, and maybe a few larges, but I just don't see it like going too much bigger than that. It's like the real world, right? You have how many cars do you have down here at the bottom and bikes and stuff
Sorry about
like
that, guys.
that? That's right. He's got to yell at his other person.
She's getting excited, I think. Hey, just give me just 1 second.
Yeah.
1 second.
Sure.
That's all right. But then you go higher and you get something like a SpaceX rocket, and it's the only thing that can do what it does. It's that type of analogy, and then you obviously got a few trucks in there and buses and stuff like that. But the higher and bigger you go, the more custom it becomes, and it's exactly the same thing I'd expect to see in the game. Anyway,
all right, let's move on to the next question. We got the last question from YouTube, which is Dan the Welder 87 asks, does it make sense? Oh no, we literally don't want that one. So the next question.
So
from
happy to get rid of the questions, aren't you, Paul? No, fuck these guys. I want to go to bed.
Rough Gaming Com asks, you can leave, buddy. You're almost done. You can't leave, buddy. You're almost done. I just went to the restroom, guys.
He's busting. We're breaking in, boys. Come on.
Purple Target asks, question. WRT incentives to keep and not claim ships, or like what are the incentives to keep and not claim ships? There are plenty of ideas to punish players for losing their ship and claiming from warranty/insurance. What ideas do you have for carrots instead of reward players that keep their fighters and other ships alive for longer instead of claiming where retrieval taxi or tow is more desirable?
Yeah, cost, time, gameplay.
Yeah, but those aren't
there's a lot.
Those aren't carrots. Those are all sticks.
I'm halfway through it.
Yeah.
There is a lot of gameplay that's not in to have the carrots.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't have a lot of repair systems in. So again, it's a cart before the horse problem, and a lot of the things really come back to just the gameplay's not there. So if it's really simple to implement, that's why you see a lot of negatives, and like we'll see this really positive bug.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll squish it because it's really easy to fix. It's like, oh, that's like 2 seconds to fix. So if it's something really easy to fix, they'll fix it straight away. But if it's something really lengthy, they'll just let it ride.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of like other than the answer is that they're going to make claiming insurance take so much time that it just doesn't make a lot of sense to claim it for the sake and cost more. So that you want to claim your ship, you can, but you'll not get your ammo back or get your weapon armor back, or there'll be some stuff you won't get back.
You see it already with some of the bigger ships. Like when your reclaimer takes an hour, it's like, is it going to be quicker for me to jump across to Crusader and come back to get my reclaimer, or stuff it? I'll just reclaim it way now.
Will Planet Tech ever be used to make ships? Read that question again. Read that question again and ask yourself,
that's no moon.
How could you use Planet Tech to make ships?
Challenge accepted, Paul. Challenge accepted. And I will raise you, Paul, and I'll give you Spider in the other way round.
I mean,
what about episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of Star Wars? Wasn't that a Planet Tech spaceship?
There's a moon.
Order?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're talking about Eldari Craft Worlds, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So,
no, I'm talking about what's his name? Domhnall Gleeson's planet.
No, I got you.
In episode
Starkiller.
Starkiller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good question from Gin and Tonic. Should we be able to build in Nyx with land claim beacon and be under the protection of the People's Alliance instead of the UEE? I mean,
Jojo.
Yeah, Jojo, go for it. What do you think? Should you be able to use a UEE land beacon in the for the People's Alliance?
Right now, I don't think I could give an answer because what they've said for what they've said for the story going into next year is it's going to revolve around, is the People's Alliance going to
Become part of the UEE.
accept the help of the UEE, become part of the UEE? So that until we know the answer to that, probably won't know whether you'd be able to use that land claim beacon there and have that protection.
Well, wouldn't you look at it as medium sec and say, so basically that the example they gave in high sec, they would turn up within 5 minutes, and medium sec, they would turn up in 15, and low sec, they wouldn't turn up at all. So they would turn up, so therefore you could use the land claim.
It's possible. It could depend also like just where you're at in Nyx as well, because it sounds like the People's Alliance influence doesn't cover the whole
Reaches far.
system.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So smaller areas of radiance of influence in certain systems. So I also agree with you on that, actually, if I think about it, because obviously in Stanton you have different areas of influence, like Crusader to Hurston to Microtech to ArcCorp. They would have their own areas of influence, as well as Grimhex existing criminals existing in the system.
I do think that the People's Alliance will have a presence pretty much all over the system, but it won't be as thorough as the UEE. So like, because they're said in lore to basically control the system fairly well, but they also routinely don't catch smugglers going through their territory. So like, it's thorough enough that they have to be careful, but not so thorough that like there is always a PAL ship, near every jump point, sort of thing.
So instead of a UEE javelin turns up, it's just a bunch of shivs.
Yeah, basically.
What a pile of shiv. Anyway.
When are we going to? When were they going to do a rework for the Reclaimer? They only recently talked about that. John talked about how they had to do that. I think like back in July or June or something like that.
When we talked to them too, they mentioned other things like the Starfarer and stuff like that. They know they need it, but again, it always comes back to priority. And I like looking at salvage as a whole. You obviously know salvage has got longer to go. Obviously, they've got to do that, and then once they know what it all is, they'll go back. So, getting things like a large salvager is probably going to come first. I would give the example of the Starfarer would probably come back after they do refueling again. And we all know that they've now got room for smaller refuelers. And I believe Lando actually mentioned that at one point, didn't he? More refueling gameplay.
Yes, they do.
At CitizenCon.
So they mentioned they were bringing in refueling missions or something.
Yeah. And I even asked that myself this year too. Like, why isn't that one gameplay they reached into? But yeah.
Have you tried to use the Gemini anytime recently?
I try to avoid it. But yeah, what's wrong with it?
Here's what it does, in case you want to know. It will go through the animation, it will let you connect, and then it will teleport you somewhere between 45 and 100 GM in a random direction. So you can come to get refueled because you need to be able to make a jump to the next location. But instead, it will put you 70 GM outside of Pyro.
So what you're saying is it's become the Voyager Explorer. If you want that experience of what it was like for Voyager thrown across the universe, use the Gemini today. Yeah, I get it.
You should have heard the disappointment in Alex's tone when he was like, I'm going to buy a Starfarer so that we can get around Pyro more easily. And then the first time he came to us to refuel, he sent me all the way to the other side of Pyro. So I just sat there floating, waiting for the backspace.
Paul was gone for 2 minutes, so we're gonna make him stay 2 minutes longer now.
Fuck you.
He's trying to exit stage left. He's got a solid every 5 seconds. There's something going on. There's a snack out there. He's got a McDonald's or a pizza in that hallway. I know it.
Like I said this earlier. I haven't. When I stream, I have a Nalgene bottle, and whenever I stream, when I'm doing the captain's table, I tend to drink 2 Nalgene bottles per like entire captain's table.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I've been drinking, which is about 1,000 milliliters, so about a liter of
latest.
water.
Pissing like a horse, right?
So I'm
okay,
pissing
good.
like a racehorse. Yes, that's effectively it.
Yeah.
So it's good and healthy, but it also means I got to stand up every so often, especially when I'm tired. All right.
Yeah, I get it.
So this is the last question, or we have two more questions, and that's it. We managed to get through all of them, and we've still got
Oh, that's good.
10 minutes or so. Does the Aurora rework get to spread her wings?
I'm going to be honest. Look at what happened with the Retaliator. For me, what is functionally missing from the Aurora, think about if they made any massive drastic changes about legality of returns and stuff like that. All I'm expecting is the Aurora we have now with components added, and a way for those components to come out. So I look at something like the MTC and how they had that whole rack system come out the back, like come out a very small hole. But all the components kind of essentially came out on this rack system. They could literally, if you go around the Aurora, the only area that Arag and I found that would kind of work was on the neck area, kind of like essentially behind the docking collar and before the kind of wings start. But that said, they could have it come out from between the wings and lay itself out between the wings. We don't quite know, right? But there's not a lot of space in there. There's essentially the floor underneath, and then you have to. So I'm expecting it gets fatter somewhere. Or they literally come down out of the wings or something like that, because there is just no other space in that thing. Because you essentially go, as soon as you go into it, you hit internals. You hit the cockpit, you hit the room behind the cockpit, you hit the bed. There is literally no room, because the room under the bed is the cargo. So the only space internally is really the walls of that neck and the wings themselves. And you got to remember, the wings also have those two blades in them.
Yeah.
So there's just they got either got to fatten it up or something like that. But again, that's all I'm expecting is basically components. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
I'll let you guys speak now. sorry.
Jin is saying he's incapable of not tangenting. You weren't tangenting. He wasn't tangenting, Jin. He was literally just breaking down the whole the reason why we're not going to see the like X-wing Aurora is because I don't think CIG is going to do that, and because of the nature of how they have things, they need to just do components. And based off what they said in the monthly report, it's just components. I think it's components.
Boy, oh boy, would we
But-
love to be wrong?
Yes.
I'd love to be wrong about that. But
I'd
Who was
love
that guy that I'm adding to the blacklist? Who was it?
gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic, right?
Yeah, I do think just because of from the monthly report how quickly it seems it's moved, I don't think there's really going to be any drastic changes to the Aurora. Yeah, mostly just components. Maybe they give just a little interior kind of a spruce up for the modern RSI aesthetic, maybe. But other than that, I don't think they're going to do a whole lot.
But they might replace the seat, the old seat, with the new seats from the Zeus. So
Yeah, possibly.
So because they did talk about
But
they're changing up the
They'll come in leather now, Paul.
Yeah. There was an option. Remember, you could buy the leather version.
Yeah, there was a whole version of the Aurora, for those that don't know. I think it was like the CS or something like that. And the only difference between it and another variant was it came with a leather seat and a different paint job.
Yeah.
But I think back then you'd agree, Paul, that was just to show off how customizable they wanted the ships to be.
Yeah, they wanted to be able to swap out seats and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't really need 5 variants anymore. You could probably knock it down to 3. Let's be honest. Especially where one of the other variants just has a larger cargo module than the other. So this, I think one was the CL and one was the CS. I think, or ES or something like that. Whatever it is.
ES,
two of them can be
MR,
dropped.
CL, LX, LN.
Yeah, was there an MR as well? There was
the
an
MR.
wasn't there?
Yeah, it's ES,
Yeah.
MR, CL, LX, and LN are the ones.
Yeah. So yeah, you could probably cut a few of them, and I think the Mustang would probably in the same boat, to be honest. By now, there's a lot of variants for that thing as well. They could trim the fat a little bit. Obviously the Amiga and the Gamma are the same in that as well. So, and maybe cut one more variant just to get it down to 3. That seems to be kind of where they're going with. Like, look at the Cutter. The Cutter's got 3 variants and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right, last one. I'm gonna start with you on this one, Jojo. Thoughts on the large base building vehicle we saw 2 Citizen Cons ago, but have heard nothing of since. The one that
So
kind
we're
of
talking
looked
about
like,
the Atlas with the
That
trailer.
was the Atlas looking
yeah,
one.
the one with
Yeah.
the trailer.
Do we have a photo? I can get. There's.
I'll pull it up.
I got it saved somewhere if you don't, Paul.
I can find
There's,
it. I
there's
think.
2 of them.
Um,
Yeah, there's the grey box one, and there's the one where it's coming out of the Hercules. The one out of the Hercules is probably the better one, but it's harder to find. I've got it saved somewhere. Let me have a look.
do.
Yeah, just in general though about it, with the Starlancer build being the large base building ship, and I believe that's supposed to have 4 of the large drones. I personally don't really see any reason for them to have that Atlas version anymore, because you'd have to have like a C2 to carry that around, which is bigger than the Starlancer, and that Atlas would probably carry less drones, so you'd have less building capacity.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know that they will make it unless that Atlas platform for the silhouettes. I think Execute, you've speculated before that it might be like a trailer on the back.
Yeah.
Maybe that was Grim. I don't remember.
No,
So
no.
maybe
I
there's
think it's been
maybe,
both of us. So, yeah.
maybe there's some modules there, so maybe there's like a medical trailer or a base building trailer, maybe down the line.
Here we go.
But
So
I'm gonna.
this is what it looks like.
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Yeah.
Is it coming out of the
Yeah.
the Hercules there?
Hercules.
Yeah.
I go the other way because one thing Grim and I have talked about a lot is accessibility, and they've talked about it themselves, making it more accessible. So I think they're going to have a lot of different vehicles and ships that can actually do base building. I think they will still do something akin to this. I think they'll have every different option you can possibly think of. I think they're going to have little pods like they've shown off that you can put in the back of the vehicle. I think they'll also have a little more dedicated vehicle like a CFFM. And what that shows is different tech levels, right? You can literally have a hand trolley one that'll take a lot longer to build something. But if you have essentially, if you look at it within ships, we have niche ships, we have modular ships, and we have, niche variants and then modular, right? And I'd think of it to be something similar to that as well, giving us the different tech levels. So you can have your little hand trolley that will build, but it'll probably take longer and slower and maybe cost a bit more and stuff like that. But then if you have a more dedicated vehicle, it's the next rung up or even higher again. You know what I mean? I think they're going to give you player choice. I think that's really important. And I think it's just a different way of applying what we've seen in ships, but to ground vehicles or ground gameplay, I think, and base building gameplay.
So, do we all think, and I assume we all think this, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you guys have bigger expectations, but the builder ships aren't going to do anything other than create a radius, right? So, for example, that vehicle you just showed, it will just have a 5 kilometer radius around it where you'll click build and then a timer will be on that vehicle, but there's not going to be any animations of drones flying around or beams going towards anything. If you've got a Galaxy and it's your building ship, it'll just be it'll have a 20 kilometer range, and you'll go and put the a blue silhouette fabrication of something somewhere, click go, and then a timer will start on the Galaxy, and that will be it, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're not are you guys expecting to see beams or drones or
Initially,
anything like that?
I think you'll see.
Initially.
I think you'll see drones because the drones are part of that. So part of the system.
yeah.
But I don't think we're going to see like it piece by piece build. It'll see like a little hollow outline, and the drones will be like boom, 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 and then
But do you think they'll just be like, or you think there'll be like drones around the hollow outline,
Yeah.
just like going beep,
Yeah, beep,
yeah, okay,
beep,
okay,
beep,
like
Look at
Supreme
how they-
Commander or whatever.
yeah,
Look at how they
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
ships, right? Essentially, in the game, a ship is the hull, and then you have the reclaimer strips off the outside, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be the inverse of that. You'd have something that kind of builds up the frame. So if you're going to put it to a building, you'd have the foundation built, right? You then, in a real house, you see the wooden struts go up, and then they put the brickwork on the outside.
Well,
And you
yeah.
apply
So I'm
that
not
to it.
talking about that. I'm talking about anything from the ship itself. Like I just don't see
Drones.
what. Like I said, we're going to see the arcade,
They've talked about-
arcadeification. Like I said,
they've
they've said they're
talked
not interested
about-
in doing drones yet with the Apollo. So
Yeah.
I don't see drones
But they've
you
talked
manually
about
flying the
drones-
drone out.
No, you won't be manualing. They've talked about drones
no.
being A to B drones, essentially. And if you go back and look at the presentation from CitizenCon last year when they talked about the build, the first implementation of drones will just be the drone going off, printing its shit out, coming back, picking up more material, going out, bringing out. So it's just going to be going backwards and forwards from the ship to the build site, A to B, back and back.
I
And
don't
that
even
is the
think they do
most.
that. I don't even think they do that. I
Well,
think
that's what
it's
they've
literally
said.
just going to be. Yeah, but they've said a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just going to be an area. The ship will have a radius around it, and then, like you said, Paul, there'll just be like a blue hollow layer that just goes boop 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 slowly with a timer on the ship.
I
that
do think-
says 2 hours until complete.
I do think they'll have little mini animations of drones. I do think they'll
Yeah,
have,
it's just animation.
I think
it's
they'll
not
just
that complicated.
they'll just have like a physical drone that'll animate. It'll have an animation where it kind of goes because they have some of that already for Squadron.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a
And
reuse of
and it'll
Squadron
just-
assets.
It's just literally taking the salvage tool, except it's going in one direction, so it goes from nothing. So the building's physically there, but you just can't see it, and all it's doing is applying the texture or removing the transparency as it moves up.
Yeah.
That's all it
I
is.
don't think
And
that's what's going to be the case.
It's already the tech's already in game. It's not hard to implement.
Yeah,
It's just
but
it's
the
literally just
tech
an
barely work-
animated. It's literally just an animated alpha channel. Like it's incredibly easy to do. It's very very
like-
simple.
It's also Chris Roberts. It's like we got to remember
Yeah.
that they're gonna want fidelity. So it's gonna have some fidelity in there, and that fidelity, I'm not expecting it to be 3D printing everything to the minute detail. It's just going to
Yeah.
wave a stupid beam around, and then it's going to like slowly fill in like you would see in other like in RTS
Yeah.
games where it just slowly rises out of the ground and then encompasses itself.
Yeah, I think we'll get that. I just don't think there's going to be anything going back and forth between the ship. That's what I
No,
think.
no,
Anyway,
I don't. No, you're
whatever.
right. There's not going to be like drones going from one to back to the ship and then back to the thing and then back. That's not going to happen. It's just going to be an area of like this
That's
is
what I
the
think. I think that's what I
resources,
think.
but the drone will fly around the actual thing.
The
It's-
particular fabrication.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, because that's just too much. That's you say arcadification. I say it's like RTS. Like you don't need to have like piles.
Remember
of
the
supply stuff,
drones-
you know.
Do you remember Cryo Astro and the drones that flew around and shot
Yeah.
beams at you?
Yeah, those are camera drones. from
Essentially
Squadron.
that, but it's a building. So
Yeah.
they essentially fly over to where you are. They shoot beams. And by the way, in that same presentation that you showed the Hercules, that thing coming out of the back of the Hercules,
Mhm.
they literally had drones with beams shooting onto walls.
Yeah, they had some of that.
Yeah. So I'm just expecting it to literally come along, shoot a beam at the building, and that's it, transferring its stuff, and then it just flies back, lands for a second, it runs a timer, the box will disappear out of the ship, appear on the drone, and essentially the drone flies over, shoots a beam, and repeat.
All right. Well, that's it. We're at time. It has been 25 hours.
Oh, we've got 1 minute to go. We're gonna make it that last.
7:01.
Yeah, but you walked out of the room for 2 minutes, so I got 1 minute to go, Paul.
All right. Have a good
1
night,
minute to
y'all.
go.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Fuck you, X, I'm out.
Thank you, X, for coming on. Thank you. Make sure to check out the Info Runners. Check out Nonstop
Yeah.
Bops on Twitch, and it's JoJo on YouTube. A wonderful content creators. Thank you for joining us. We have raised over $5,195.11. That means we have raised for 1 1/4 total
Cards?
go-karts. Yeah, for go-karts. So and I've watched the total go up over today, the event total, and we have put a significant dent in the event total. When we first started this, they had made like 98,000, and our 5,000 has added to their total goal of 150,000. So it's significantly higher. So this is all because of you.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Thank you all so much
Yeah,
for your
well done, Chad.
generosity, and thank you to all the guests who've been on to help us raise money. I would say thank you to CIG, because I reached out to CIG and said, hey, can you give me some chips to give away for a good cause? And they never got back to me. But I'm not going to hold it against
They've
them.
been busy.
They've been busy.
I'm going to tell you now, reach out, because I had actually I had trouble contacting them too back in August, and it
Mhm.
turns out that I didn't get past the filters. They
Yeah.
somehow had unfiltered me. So the same thing might happen to you, and you're essentially on a blacklist.
Yeah.
I actually had to reach out through Sandy, and they went in and went, oh yeah, there's a filter being applied to your email.
Yeah.
And they had to remove it. So they might have done it to a lot of content creators by accident.
It might be it might be an accidental. But
Yeah.
anyways,
But now I've got to wait to next year to do this again.
yes,
My wait now begins.
your watch begins.
Yes, it will.
Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday. Black.
See you, citizens. Say goodbye, Jojo.
Goodbye,
See ya.
JoJo.